Twin Zeros at 4870 North Harlem Avenue in Harwood Heights, Illinois. Check out the full menu at twinzeros.com. Twin Zeros Restaurant in Harwood Heights not only serves traditional gyros, but also has chicken gyro sandwiches. Twin Zeros also serves a variety of sandwiches ranging from cheeseburgers and Vienna beef hot dogs that have recently been inducted into the Vienna Beef Hot Dog Hall of Fame, Italian beef, Italian sausage, and combo sandwiches, to ethnic favorites such as Slovaki and Grecian chicken. Slovaki is shish kebabs, specifically chicken or pork shish kebabs, grilled to perfection, served on a warm pita with tomatoes, onions, and our homemade tzatziki sauce. You can also enjoy barbecue ribs served every day. Twins is open 7 days a week and also delivers locally. Located at 4870 North Harlem Avenue in Harwood Heights. Check out the full menu at twinzeros.com. That's twinzeros.com.
And we are transmitting live right here from 1410 AM WRMN Radio in Elgin, Illinois. So Matt is with me. He just popped up from the previous show. And what does that run every week now live, Matt?
That is now every week. Let me make sure I get you on the screen here, too, because I did a different screen sharing here. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So, yes, that is every Saturday now. So it's going to be every Saturday from 8 o'clock until 12 o'clock.
This network is going through so many changes, adding better programs, more live programs. I'm very proud to be part of their programming. I'm here on Saturdays, and I got to get up early. And let me tell you something, I am not a morning person.
Yeah.
I was a policeman, 27 years of working midnights. I don't go to sleep before 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So getting here at noon is a little difficult for me. I'm usually here by 11:30, but I meet my obligations. The purpose of my show, Four Corners Radio, is 4 topics of the conversation. One is legal and crime aspects, issues that are going on. The second is arts and entertainment. I am a big movie and book fan, and I try to get out messages, and I try to give out freebies. As a matter of fact, the author of the month this month is Danielle Steele. We are giving these books out to any caller that wants them. I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books out, nearly a dozen. Hardcover, good shape, they are used. They're from my daughter's collection. She goes and she likes hardcovers. Mm-hmm. So she goes and buys hardcovers from libraries that are discontinuing, or you're friends of the library. You get in on these library fairs. Or she buys off of eBay. I'm a big eBay fan. I like eBay. I just ordered some DVDs off of eBay.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah, so even though they're used, if they're in good condition and the film is viewable and the book is legible, I'm happy. You can get a hold of me. I have a Facebook page. I'm going to put it on YouTube here. It's Pellerino's Police Project. I think I have decent handwriting. You can see how my name is spelled. Just follow me on Pellerino's Police Project. If you have any questions and you don't get in during this hour that we're here, feel free to submit the questions on my Facebook page, and I'll try to get the answers for you. They could be legal questions. I teach CLEs, which is continuing legal education classes to attorneys. I have about a list 288 attorneys that religiously come to these things, and I can reach out to them if you have a particular question and try to get you an answer. Besides arts and entertainment, I also talk about food and restaurants. Everybody has a vice. Some people it's gambling. Other people it's drinking. Other people it's drugs. Mine is food.
Yeah.
As a result, I'm diabetic, so I try to corner my meals into non-carbohydrate meals, thus keeping my blood glucose sugar under 130. 90% of the time, I have been successful. But I find out when I go to eat Chinese food, it really skyrockets. I don't know what it is in Chinese food. I even avoided even the rice one night, but it just skyrocketed. So me and Chinese is not good, but for you, it may not bother you, especially if you're not diabetic. There are great Chinese restaurants out there. I could give you recommendations to quite a few. I'm a food aficionado as well as a DUI expert witness. This week we were talking about DUIs. I jumped in and out to lunch. And on my way home, it was the big breaking news was what's the guy who just got arrested? He's a singer.
Was it Justin Timberlake?
Justin Timberlake.
Yes.
I couldn't remember that. My apologies, but I don't listen to his music. The only time I saw him when he was on Super Bowl and his singing cohort had a wardrobe malfunction back, 15 years ago. But he just got a DUI, and some questions were asked by Sonar, and he's our producer here during the week and host of Out to Lunch, and he started talking about DUI investigations. DUI investigation is the officer's personal observations of the drive-in as well as the driver. It's the standardized field sobriety test, which is horizontal gaze nystagmus, walk and turn test, one leg stand test, and a preliminary breath test, which is taken on the street. If they end up making an arrest, as they did in his case, they take him to the station, they read him a warning to motorists that his license is going to be suspended if he refuses the breath test, which he did, from what I understand. And he was released eventually after going to bond court. So now he has a court date, and I'm sure he has more money than to get good lawyers. But as the average person out there, and this is what I discuss under legal aspects of my show, the average person out there who's not a carjacker or a bank robber, these are the type of legal issues they run into. They go to a picnic or a Christmas party, they drink a little bit too much, or maybe they just drink and then get stopped, and sometimes people are improperly arrested. As you yourself know, many people are falsely arrested for murder and get out after 10, 20 years and are later exonerated. If you can be falsely arrested for murder, you could be incorrectly arrested for DUI. So with that being said, we don't condone drunk driving, but I would say about 10 to 15% of the DUI arrests are improper arrests due to a series of factors. Basically, it's the officer that administers the field sobriety test has not been properly trained, and there's improper supervision. And I talk about this in my book, DUIs Decoded, which is on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. If many people have picked up this book to answer their DUI questions, field sobriety tests are in there, breathalyzer operator procedures are in there, as well as penalties, with the penalties for your first DUI, your second DUI, your third DUI. And it's in a lifetime. So if you get an arrest, let's say 1974, in 2024, some 50 years later, you get a second arrest, that counts as your second arrest. The first one, just because it's been a long time, doesn't get dissolved. People don't understand that. Another thing is, you can never take a DUI off your driving record. You can be charged with murder and get acquitted and have murder expunged from your criminal record, but you cannot get a DUI off your driving record because driving is a privilege. It's not a right. So people don't understand that. It's always on your driving record. These are the commonplace things that the average person who's never been arrested, who's not a criminal, may run into. Another thing that we discussed was domestic violence issues. These things happen to people who've never been arrested. They get an argument or physical altercation with somebody, their spouse, or they're not married, but the partner. That was the word I was looking for. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah. If I draw a blank, I'll refer to Matthew. And if I draw a blank, please Phone lines are open. Call.
Yes.
What's the number?
That number is 847-931-1410. 1410.
1410. That's our station number.
There you go.
847-931-1410. Call with any questions you got. And I want to talk a little bit of domestic violence today. How much time we got before we go commercial?
We got about 20 seconds left. Yeah.
20 seconds. Okay, stay with us right here. We're live. Call in if you got a question. We're going to talk about domestic violence issues when we come right back right here at Four Corners Radio, WRMN 1410 AM.
There you go.
Every year in Illinois, over 30,000 drivers are arrested for DUI. Due to improper testing procedures, many people end up being wrongfully charged. The book DUIs Decoded cuts right to the chase and tells you how proper DUIs arrests are supposed to be made, from the initial traffic stop to the reasoning behind the field sobriety test, all the myths and facts about taking a breathalyzer, and more. DUIs Decoded is written by nationally recognized DUI expert witness William Polarinos. Available now at Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com.
If you have been charged with driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs in Cook County, DuPage County, or Lake County, Illinois, call the law office of Mark Sheblow at 773-775-5050. That's 773-775-5050. Attorney Mark Sheblow has over 29 years of law experience handling DUI defense, traffic violations, CDL violations, and Secretary of State driver's license reinstatement hearings. All aspects of your case will be examined in order to find evidence that may help your case, especially the statutory summary suspension of your driving privileges. If your breath alcohol concentration level at the time of the DUI arrest is 0.08 or more, then the summary suspension of your driver's license begins 46 days after the arrest. Time is a crucial factor in challenging the summary suspension of your driver's license. Our law office is located at 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. That's 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. And again, our office phone number is 773-775-5050.
Welcome back, Four Corners Radio. We're here live from Elgin, Illinois. We have a couple of issues to discuss today in the legal aspect. Feel free to call in if you have any questions. If we can't answer them today, I will make an effort during the week to find out your correct answer to your questions. Our phone line is 847-931-1410. That's 1410, just like our news station. I should call it news station, all around station. Yeah. Let me give a minute about this station. I listen to it now religiously. On midnight last night, I was listening to Coast Radio, and I like it. It's usually with George Norrie, and this is radio that's almost like Ancient Astronauts on the History Channel. But last night, they weren't talking about UFOs or Bigfoot or anything. They had a psychic on. And,
wow.
And yes, this woman calls in. She calls in, doesn't say too much, and then he tells her where you're going to have big changes in your life. They're coming up fast. And she comes, well, you know, that's true because I'm moving. And moving is really a tenseful situation, packing up, uprooting, and moving to another location. When I was young, I did that many times because the rent kept going up. And I don't like moving at all. I'm here to stay.
Nice.
So she goes on there, and I'm listening to this for about an hour. And he was pretty neat, but, you know, my cup of tea, I like that fantastic stuff. UFOs, Bigfoot, the search for the Ark of the Covenant, you know.
My dad's the same way, too.
Yeah.
He loves all the alien stuff.
Yeah, but many years ago, I was listening to one of these psychic channels, and I happened to call in, and it wasn't as good as Coast to Coast. It was just some nonsense, you know. So the lady, it was a lady psychic, and she goes, how can I help you? I go, don't you know? I thought you were a psychic. Don't you know what our problem is? You know, I really, she cut me off. I didn't last about 10 seconds on that. I couldn't resist. It was killing me. But, you know, I really tried to get the word out. And this is my 9th year of broadcasting, 8 years on WCGO with Legal Eagles. I really want people to know what legal issues are going on because I hate people saying, I didn't know that. I learned in high school in the 70s, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Just because you don't know about it doesn't mean you can't get arrested for it. So during the week, we just touched basically on this DUI with Justin Timberlake, which was mentioned before the break. DUI is a very complex subject. If you got DUI questions, feel free to reach out to me on my Facebook page, or you can follow me at Twitter at Police Project 1. That's at Police Project 1. if you're on Twitter. You can also Google my name, William Pellerinos, Pelarenos. I have a couple of websites out there. One website is policeproject1.com. And reach out for me either way. I'll try to get your I'll try to get your questions answered. Too early in the morning for me, folks. But I'm doing the best I can. So with that being said, the Supreme Court ruled yesterday, fresh off the block. Here it comes.
Oh, boy.
The Supreme Court ruled that if somebody gets like an order of protection, that the person that is the respondent for the order of protection, the person, let's just say you're my brother and you hit me in the face and I charge you with domestic battery and I get an order of protection, and you have a firearm owner's ID card or even a conceal and carry, that is revoked, and you don't have a Second Amendment right to that, because the Second Amendment refers to the generality of the right to bear arms. It does not allow people that are in danger to possess firearms. So with the Supreme Court ruling in Illinois, the way it is now, if somebody is the recipient of a order of protection, whether it's a criminal order of protection or a civil order of protection, or they're charged with domestic battery, then their firearm owner's ID card is revoked, as well as if they got a concealed carry weapons card. They have 48 hours, I believe, to turn in all weapons and those cards.
Wow.
So once the issue is resolved, whatever the issue is, the criminal or the civil issue in court, then, of course, that person has the right to have a hearing with the state police, because the state police is the governing agency for firearm owners' ID cards and concealed carry weapons cards. So either way, if you're involved in any of that mess, you would need an attorney. The best thing to do, and we talked about this with Sonar during the week, if you're being charged or you're being interrogated and they read you this little caveat that says you have the right to remain silent, that means be quiet. Do not say a word. You're being charged with a crime. Anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law. I don't understand. I've seen this so many times, both as a policeman, as an expert witness. People are read their rights. They know they're under arrest, and yet they talk nonsense. You know, you don't want to give, I don't condone any type of crimes, but the average person who's not a criminal, who gets caught up in a DUI or a domestic battery case, or sometimes as a policeman, I saw this, neighbor disputes. Neighbor disputes between honest, law-abiding people have led to arrests. I remember one time in the 80s, there was a wooden fence between these two neighbors up in Leiden Township, which is the unincorporated Melrose Park, Franklin Park area. And I handled the call where the man was painting his side of the fence. Mm-hmm. The paint was dripping over on the other side of the fence. So the other person called and wanted him arrested for vandalism to his side of the fence. It's the same wooden post. Mm-hmm. It's just the right side is one guy's, the left side belongs to the other. So I would not make an arrest. And this neighbor was adamant. He even called the supervisor, but I've seen where people are arrested in those type of neighbor disputes, and people that have no criminal histories, you're just dragged into the legal system. Right. Now, luckily I took a stand, and sometimes it works out for you, sometimes it don't, but neighbor disputes, you know, I've been an apartment dweller, I've been a homeowner, and sometimes you get the neighbors from Hades. You know what I'm saying? These people are just terrible. So you have to put up with these people to a certain extent, but you don't have to take criminal action on their part. And you certainly should not be arrested for nonsense. Mm-hmm. But sometimes push comes to shove and you end up getting arrested. If you fall into that parameter, please don't say anything against your penal interest. That means don't say anything that would hurt you in a court of law. There's an old saying, when I started in law enforcement, a friend of mine, a very good Chicago policeman, he's retired now, He says, Billy, never say anything over the telephone that you don't want repeated in a court of law. You know, you don't know if your phone's being tapped, who you're talking to. You might just make some off-color comment, and it might drag you into the legal arena because somebody's being listened to. Doesn't mean you're being listened to. The person you're talking to can have somebody listening to them, and you get caught up in their mess.
Right.
So with that being said, our phone lines are open. What is it?
847-931-1410. We do have 30 seconds left.
How much?
30.
30 seconds? Hey, we're giving away Danielle Steelbook. She's our author of the month today. Just call in. Let me talk to you for 30 seconds, and we'll save your book at the Redemption Center. We're going to go to a quick break. Stay with us right here at 1410 a.m., and we'll be right back.
Twin Zeros at 4870 North Harlem Avenue in Harwood Heights, Illinois. Check out the full menu at twinzeros.com. Twin Zeros Restaurant in Harwood Heights not only serves traditional gyros, but also has chicken gyro sandwiches. Twin Zeros also serves a variety of sandwiches ranging from cheeseburgers and Vienna beef hot dogs that have recently been inducted into the Vienna Beef Hot Dog Hall of Fame, Italian beef, Italian sausage, and combo sandwiches. To ethnic favorites such as Slovaki and Grecian chicken. Slovaki is shish kebabs, specifically chicken or pork shish kebabs, grilled to perfection, served on a warm pita with tomatoes, onions, and our homemade tzatziki sauce. You can also enjoy barbecue ribs served every day. Twins is open 7 days a week and also delivers locally. Located at 4870 North Harlem Avenue in Harwood Heights. Check out the full menu at twinzeros.com. That's twinzeros.com.
Real estate, be it residential or commercial, is often a person's most significant and priciest asset. Entering into a contract to buy or sell a real estate property is much more than just filling in the missing blanks on the printed contract. It's wise to hire a lawyer to prepare or review the offer to purchase real estate and take full advantage of his legal expertise. With Mark Sheblow, you will gain an attorney with over 26 years of legal practice and one who has helped thousands of clients to buy or sell their homes or investment property. We will safeguard your interests and might be able to even negotiate a better bargain than a client without proper legal counsel ever could. Oftentimes, a prospective buyer will submit an offer without first consulting an attorney, not realizing that once the offer is accepted by the seller, it becomes a binding contract, and the terms of that contract are not easy to be changed afterwards. Likewise, as a seller, you too will benefit from first consulting an attorney before signing. Feel free to call us for consultation at the law offices of Mark Sheblow at 773-775-5050. Our website is sheblowlawoffice.com. Mark Sheblow can be reached 6 days a week at 773-775-5050, Monday through Saturday, located at 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. That's attorney Mark Sheblow, 773-775-5050.
Hi, we're back. And talking under health issues today, we're going to discuss cancer with Dr. Terry Collins. She's not giving medical advice. What we're discussing is what some cancer patients go through, the emotional turmoil that they face, as well as the physical aspect of it. I just lost an uncle to colon cancer back in January. In my family, we've had half a dozen members over the decades that have succumbed to cancer, a devastating disease. We're going to talk about it. Get ready to plug in that interview with Dr. Terry Collins. Stay with us and listen up because I think it's highly informative. This is William Pellerinos, and we are here on Four Corners Radio. Our guest today is Dr. Terry Collins, who is retired. She is the former executive director of the Maine Community Youth Assistance Foundation. And she's been here in previous programs, been talking about health issues that she still does seminars for, such as vaping and issues like that. But today we're going to talk about something that we've all had experience from our family members, personal experiences, is cancer. When our family members are told that they have cancer. And we're not talking as experts, we're just talking as people that have been down this road with their family members. I personally, in my lifetime, have lost 6 members to cancer. My grandfather, my uncle. I just lost an uncle to colon cancer this back in January. He just passed away. And I had a cousin, 50 years old. She had colon cancer up in Canada. Cancer can hit you at any age. And that's where we're going to talk. Dr. Terry Collins is here, and we're going to talk about this stuff. Now, unfortunately, your husband went through a cancer issue, and why don't you let the public know what happens when they're told they have cancer?
So my husband, who was a 3-pack-a-day smoker for 55 years.
Wow.
Oh, long time. Yeah, that would be about it. He started when he was 12 or something like that. Anyway, he had our dentist, Dr. Joe Mikowski, he found a little spot on his tongue. And he told Peter, you better go check this out because it looks suspicious to me. So he went to another oral surgeon, and the oral surgeon, I guess they did a biopsy and stuff, but then they brought him into the room and they said, well, you have cancer of the tongue, and, if you don't quit smoking, you're going to die. And so my husband, I was not with him at the time because I thought it was going to be a routine appointment. And he sat there. Doctor just let him sit there for 10 minutes. And my husband didn't touch another cigarette after that visit. But he had to have half his tongue cut out because he had, he had tongue cancer from smoking. And then, another 5 years later, he gets he asks the gastroenterologist guy to do a CAT scan of his liver because his sister had died of liver cancer. And so, doctor said, nah, it's not a big deal. We don't have to do that. Peter said, no, I really want you to do that. Anyway, he got it done, and they found a 2-centimeter lesion on his liver. And so he had cancer of the liver. And, that time between when somebody tells you you have liver cancer and the next, 2 hours, whatever, is a blur. My husband said that he did not hear anything. And as his wife, I was shocked too. I was shocked. You say all of a sudden one day you're sitting there and everything's fine. He had recovered from this tongue cancer. Everything was cool. And then all of a sudden you're told you have liver cancer. And how many times does that happen to people where the medical community will turn and go, okay, this is what you got to do. Now go for chemotherapy. Now do this. Now do that. Very seldom do you get a time that you can process it. They might throw in social work as a help at the end. Oh, here, by the way, if you need some social work, here, go, this is where you could get some help. But right in that moment, I think when people are told they have cancer, and unfortunately, a lot of people think of it like a death sentence. Now, I think with all of the progress that's been made, I think some cancers have become chronic illnesses. I mean, where you have them for 20 years. But that shock, I think, that goes through you when, you're told that. And I think probably any life-altering or life-ending type of comment, I imagine, could make you feel like that. But I think cancer in our society still has that. And I know that there's a lot more treatments out there. Because Peter, what he wound up doing was he wound up getting an ablation. And, they talked about it and all the different ways to do it. Basically, they microwaved a hole in his liver. And he survived. Of course, he's like the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps coming back and back and back and back. But I tell him that anyway. But I have to say that I think one of the things that just hit me, and have such compassion for people who are diagnosed with cancer, with rare illnesses, we need to take account of their mental health as well as their physical health. And I think some physicians maybe are getting a little bit better at this, but I think that we have to know that that's important. And because I really believe that a positive attitude will go a long ways in making you healthier.
Yes, I agree. My aunt, one of the family members that passed away from cancer, she was going through dialysis for kidney problems. So I was taking her I think she'd go 3 times a week. I was taking her 1 day a week. And it was a long process, several hours. She'd be sitting there going through dialysis. Well, she got lucky and they found a kidney for her and they operated her. She was good for about 4 or 5 years. Well, then one day she ain't feeling good. She's going to go to the doctor. She ends up in the hospital. And we were visiting her on and off, but I was working at the time. I had the kids. Her sons were working. So not everybody was with her the whole time at the hospital that day. A doctor walks in and just tells her flat out, you have cancer all over your body or in your stomach or wherever it was. But he just told her flat out by herself. And that's the problem. You're by yourself and you're given the worst news of your life. And what we're talking about here, and God bless all doctors that are...
Yeah, I don't want to put doctors down because they have enough to do.
But we're talking about the human factor.
Yes, right.
We're talking about the element of emotion that somebody has to face, and they're by themselves falling in this bottomless pit of despair. And of course, when you hear such news, it's extremely depressing and shocking. But she was by herself, and her son complained to her regular primary care physician, and his response was, cancer doctors are very dry. So, he had been aware, and God bless cancer doctors. They've done great things. Your husband, luckily, was saved, but it's the human factor we're talking about today, not the medical issues. And the human factor in this health issue is that whenever you go to a doctor's appointment or you're going through possible analysis of anything, don't go alone. Always have somebody else with you. It doesn't have to be a professional. It could be your son, your daughter, even a friend, somebody to drive you there. It's important because just like anything else, you need a sounding board. Somebody has to be there to listen to you vent. A lot of cancer patients and friends of mine that have fought cancer, a lot of their slogan is, why me? Cancer picks, you are what your family is. A lot of it is genes. Some of it is other factors. Smokers, like you said, your husband was smoking a lot. He ended up with the tongue cancer. I knew a guy that was chewing tobacco for many years. He had gum surgery because he had some cancer in his gums. Some of this is self-inflicted, but other is just genetics. So whatever the reason is for the cancer, the bottom line that we're trying to get through here is the human factor is that when bad news, or sometimes even good news, you should not be alone when you go to these doctor's appointments. And that's the big point that we're trying to get across. And cancer is just a devastating thing. And I want to thank all the doctors and nurses that are working with cancer patients to help them through. But once somebody falls in that wheel, they need moral support too, and a positive mental attitude, like you said, goes a long way. So with that being said, stay with us here on WRMN. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. Four Corners Radio is continuing the conversation. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for a way to be creative right now? Have you ever wanted to learn to watercolor paint? You can now do that from the comfort of your own home with Zoom watercolor classes. Get professional instruction from nationally showing artist Victoria Elizabeth. These classes are step-by-step, broken down with easy-to-understand instructions. They're affordable, too, at $15 for a 2-hour class. Visit her website at victoriaelizabethart.com to find out more. That's victoriaelizabethart.com.
Is your Illinois driver's license suspended? Your driving privileges are important to your livelihood. You need your driver's license to drive to work, get the kids to school, or go shopping. Your driving privileges are crucial for your lifestyle. If your driver's license is suspended, call attorney Mark Sheblow at 773-775-5050 to begin procedures to have your driver's license reinstated by the Illinois Secretary of State's office. That phone number for Mark Sheblow is 773-775-5050. Mark Sheblow is an attorney with over 29 years of experience. Call him today at 773-775-5050. Visit his website at sheblowlawoffice.com. That's SCIBLO lawoffice.com.
Hey, we're back. I hope you found that somewhat informative. Cancer has devastated my family over the decades. It's a very devastating subject, but someone through 3 degrees of separation that I happen to know that just succumbed to cancer. His name is Jason Rago, R-A-G-O, and he just died from stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He has 3 children left behind. There's a GoFundMe campaign for this man. I do not know this man personally. Like I said, I knew him through several friends of mine happened to know him or knew him. And he has 3 children, a 13, a 14, and a 17-year-old. And they have to go through life without their father. It's devastating. This man was a good man. He was a police sergeant with the Morning Grove Police Department, and honest. Never got caught up in any controversial issues as you see on these news shows all the time, and no misconduct. This guy was a good, honest policeman, and unfortunately succumbed to cancer. If you have a few dollars you could give, keep the campaign going. Even if it's $5 or $10, keep the GoFundMe campaign going. Last donation was 5 days ago. I've given $700 over since the campaign started, but you don't have to give that much. I mean, if you can, that's fine. But even $5 or $10, less than the price of a Happy Meal, will keep the campaign going. And all you have to do is Google GoFundMe as one word, and then Jason, and then Rago, R-A-G-O. And it'll pop right up, and it'll come up as Jason Rago's Fight Against Cancer. Jason Rago's Fight Against Cancer. That's how it comes up. So if you can give a few dollars, keep the campaign going. We have a very generous audience out there. You know, you don't have to put your name down with GoFundMe. You could just hit anonymous if you're ashamed that it's such a low donation. But there is no low donation. I mean, even $5 or $10 keeps that campaign going, and that's what's important. There's 3 kids left fatherless that need to go on. They have bills and everything else. So let's try to help them out. Be generous. Our phone lines are open, 847-931-1410. That's 931-1410, just like our radio station, Talk Radio 1410. And I was talking about there's a new lineup this summer. With my show, this is the 4th episode, I believe, Matt, we're into since Memorial Day. I'm being followed by Rich on Tech, which I listened to on the way home. This guy's fantastic. This is stuff that I don't know, VPNs and all this. But he makes it sound pretty simple, and he tells you what websites to go and what equipment or apps you might need. This is something that I don't discuss on my show because I'm not an expert or high tech or an IT guy. Every time I try to get an app, I can't remember the password. I have to get my daughter. Thank God for children.
Yeah.
See, but these kids, these generations grew up with these iPhones and stuff. I never had this growing up. This is new to me just the last couple of decades. And it's always changing. The technology is always changing. Even we were talking about weapons and firearm owners' ID cards and orders of protection. But let's go back to firearm owners' ID cards. Let's say you want to purchase a weapon, a gun in Illinois. You need a firearm owner's ID card to purchase and possess a gun or a rifle, shotgun, or ammunition. You apply through it, through the Illinois State Police website. It may take as long as 90 days, maybe longer. They are backlogged. Once you get your firearm owner's ID card, you can go purchase a weapon. I go target practice. The relationship I have with a gun is different from the average person because I was a policeman and I was military. I've been carrying a gun for 4 decades. But as the average homeowner, you may want to have a gun in the house to protect yourself. There have been some violent home invasions. And don't think this is just the city of Chicago. In Winnetka, just 3 weeks ago, some car burglars actually broke into this guy's house to steal the car keys so they could steal his cars. Gosh. He was sleeping. It was 3 a.m. He had 4 daughters at home. He got his firearm, went down to investigate who was in his house, and outside they opened fire on him, and he returned fire. 37 rounds of fire between them. Nobody was hit. So if you're going to own a gun and you need it for home protection, it's up to you. But you need to go to the range and become proficient because you need to hit your target. And at the range, we're just hitting a piece of paper. But the more proficient you can get at it, it's like bowling. If you're not a good bowler, keep bowling. And I go to this Fox Valley out here. I was going out here before I became a broadcaster on this radio station. I started going up there about 7 years ago. There's gun ranges all over the place. In Des Plaines, there's Max and Shooters, wherever you want to go. But I like this Fox Valley out here. And the first time I went, the reason I like it, my automatic stovepiped on me. And that's what happens when the ejected cartridge, the shell casing, gets jammed up. And then I had a misfire. The range master came out, took my gun apart, found out what the problem was, corrected it, put it back, didn't charge me a penny. Wow. So, yeah, they're very helpful out there. It's 2.1 miles from here. So during the week, when I jump in and out to lunch to promote this program, my next pit stop is Fox Valley Gun Range. And then I try to make it home, but sometimes being food in restaurants on my 4 corners, I have to stop and eat. And I will give you a critique of wherever I stop and eat. I try not to give negative critiques. I try to be positive. If I can't say anything positive, I try not to say anything at all. But if I find a good food spot, something that's good for me, not only nutritious and filling, but to keep my blood sugar down because I am diabetic and 28 million Americans are diabetic. So if it's a good food spot, got a lot of protein. I mentioned it. We mentioned Twin Zeros in Howard Heights. I like this place because I can go there, order gyros extra meat or chicken gyros. One of the few places that has chicken gyros. Chicken gyros extra meat. And this is what I did the other day. I ordered chicken gyros extra meat, which is like a double gyros. I told them put the lettuce, tomatoes, and onions on the side. I said I want no honey mustard. That's the sauce they give you. Mm-hmm. Went home, ate those. I put vinegar and oil on the lettuce, tomatoes, and onions. I ate it like a mini salad. I checked my blood sugar, and I was 129, and that's what I'm trying to keep it under 130. That's the key for me. And if you're not diabetic, just bear with me for a few seconds. But it's important for diabetics to try to keep their blood sugar low, and it's important for them to see their primary care physicians periodically during the year. My guy wants to see me every 4 months, but everybody's different. So with that being said, I also reached out to my podiatrist because as a diabetic, it's very important to protect my feet. I got to make sure I don't end up with any foot problems because 2 people I know ended up getting their legs amputated. And they were both diabetics and they both had injuries. You do not want injuries to your legs as a diabetic. So I try to get my podiatrist out there. If she can't make it to the show, I will reach out to other podiatrists because they have important medical info they can give out. The problem with doctors is they're so busy. Mm-hmm. I can get lawyers on this show. They'll make time. You know what I mean? Lawyers are pretty cool, and they don't want to disrespect me. You know, they want to keep me out there. They have a lot of respect, especially those come to my CLEs. But but doctors are really, really hard to get on during the day, you know, to drive out here, to sit down. Mm-hmm. They are just so busy and overwhelmed. And it's important to get our medicals. So if you got medical questions, I always write them down. And when I see my primary care physician or my optometrist or my ophthalmologist or my podiatrist, I always ask them questions. Say, hey, some other diabetics asked me this or asked me that. And I'm trying to get together a Diabetics Anonymous, so we can all share information, because I was lucky enough to talk to another diabetic who switched meds, and their diabetic medicine happened to work for me too. When I asked my doctor if I could switch to it, I didn't say, hey, I want to go to this doc. I asked him very cautiously and professionally, doc, I'm having problems with the metformin. Is it possible I'm a candidate for Janumet? And he says, well, we'll try it for 30 days. So I tried it for 30 days. It worked out for me. I've been on it for 2 years now. So that's information I got from a diabetic. I didn't get this from another physician, but the physicians are great. But if you don't ask the right questions, you may not get the answers that you need. You know, so it's important to know the questions to ask both lawyers and doctors. And everything is confidential. My doctor happens to be my wife's doctor too, and the doctor for my future son-in-law and the doctor for his father. But he doesn't intermingle, you know, he doesn't say, hey, your wife has this or your wife has that. He just, you know, we talk about me and that's it. It's doctor-client confidential, just like confidential between you and your attorney. So it's important. I may now, you know, I may want to share some things with my wife, but some things are private too. Everybody has the right to their privacy. I'm a firm believer in privacy. And I'm a firm believer in the Constitution. As a policeman, I protected that for 27 years. And as a member of the armed forces, I was in the Navy. The Constitution is the way it is. That's our Bible for, you know, our law standards in the United States. So with that being said, I did get a text about my book. It is on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. It's called DUIs Decoded. The question was, what are the penalties for DUI? And I'm going to look up the chapter that's in. And I have to flip. Okay. First offense. Let me read this. If you're a first-time offender charged with driving under the influence of alcohol, drugs, or a combination of alcohol and drugs, or intoxicating compounds, it is a Class A misdemeanor. That means technically they can give you up to 365 days in jail. But you are allowed court supervision up to 2 years. There's a fine that can range from anywhere up to $2,500 if you submit to a breath test and your BAC is greater than twice the legal limit, which would be 0.16 or greater, then it's a mandatory 100 hours of community service, a mandatory minimum fine of $500. If you have a passenger under 16 years old in the car That makes you subject to 6 months in jail or 25 days community service to a program benefiting children, up to a fine maximum of $2,500 with a mandatory minimum of a $1,000 fine. Now, we mention this because when I was a policeman, I stopped a man, he was a grandfather, and he had his grandkid in the car, and this guy was drunker than a skunk. So he fell into this parameter where he endangered the life of a child under 16 years old. So yeah, the penalties were higher for him. If it's your second offense, this is the problem people run into. Second offense in a lifetime, not in 3 years, 5 years, but penalty-wise, sentencing-wise, if it's your second offense, then there is no court supervision. Your driver's license gets revoked. And, hey, we got people driving by waving at us. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's pretty weird having the windows open broadcasting because when I was at WCGO, it was all in closed studio. Yeah. You know, you needed a key or to be buzzed in to get in. High-tech security. But I didn't mean to get off the track. Second offense is a Class A misdemeanor. Third offense, this is when you run into trouble. It's a Class 2 felony. That means a felony is a minimum of 1 year in prison. That's a felony. A misdemeanor is under 365 days. But with a Class 2 felony, we're looking at 3 to 7 years of imprisonment or probation up to 48 months and a mandatory minimum of 10 days in jail or 480 hours of community service. A fine, listen to this, a fine up to a maximum of $25,000.
Wow.
Now, I've never heard of a fine that high being imposed, but I am aware of convicted felons for DUI paying $4,000 and $5,000 fines. So, yeah, it's very expensive. If you have a drinking problem, my suggestion is to try to get help and do not get near any vehicle. That means boats, too. You're not supposed to operate a boat or a watercraft vehicle under the influence of alcohol or drugs or combination of both. It's very dangerous. It is the summer season. People, even clean and sober people, are having accidents and dying. Recently, 2 young girls were in a wave runner. They accidentally struck a boat, and they both perished. It was a 13 and a 16-year-old, I believe, up in the Chain of Lakes up in Lake County. It's a tragedy. And with that being said, I just want to sign off this week and just let you know that I am on Facebook at Pellerinos Police Project. Feel free to be in touch with me. My book, DUIs Decoded, is on Amazon.com, and Barnes & Noble will answer a lot of your DUI questions. Stay with us next week. We'll be right here at 12 noon. And, Matt, your Redemption Center is open during the week?
It will be, yes. Starting Saturday, it's going to be from 9 to 3.
All right. We're going to go to commercial. As a matter of fact, we're signing off for the week. Catch us next week.
Are you looking for a way to be creative right now? Have you ever wanted to learn to watercolor paint? You can now do that from the comfort of your own home with Zoom watercolor classes. Get professional instruction from nationally showing artist Victoria Elizabeth. These classes are step-by-step, broken down with easy-to-understand instructions. They are affordable, too, at $15 for a 2-hour class. Visit her website at victoriaelizabethart.com to find out more. That's victoriaelizabethart.com.
Every year in Illinois, over 30,000 drivers are arrested for DUI. Due to improper testing procedures, many people end up being wrongfully charged. The
The book DUIs Decoded cuts right to the chase and tells you how proper DUIs arrests are supposed to be made, from the initial traffic stop to the reasoning behind the field sobriety test, all the myths and facts about taking a breathalyzer, and more. DUIs Decoded is written by nationally recognized DUI expert witness William Polarinos. Available now at Amazon and barnesandnoble.com.